Hello, this is George Dunlap with GeorgeDunlap.com, and as my website says, I am constantly and ongoing searching for the best ice cream around, one scoop at a time. And I tell you, what a journey. It's been a long winter, long spring since our last conversation back in the fall when I had the pleasure to talk with the Cheneys. Uh, the winter, and it was a long winter this year, and pretty much spring didn't hit till late May. Most of my friends that are in the ice cream business, most of the shop owners, all agree that it was a long winter. Spring didn't start till late middle of May. But the fun thing is that they have made up and have gained tremendously. It's been a wonderful spring and summer for them. In the ice cream business, they've had a great year. They're doing very well. And here it is, middle of summertime, and we're already thinking about slowing down and getting ready to close for winter. So it's time for me to get started again. Uh, I've been busy. We've had trade shows and we've had new customers. Had the pleasure to meet a lot of great new operators in the ice cream retail side. As you know, I am sponsored by the C. Nelson Manufacturing Company based out of Oak Harbor, Ohio. Manufacturers of in-store and out-of-store ice cream cabinets, mobile push carts. And Kelly Smith over at C. Nelson has been so gracious to support this website, this blog post. So want to get back to work there, but we're going to get started with the podcast. Start talking to some of my great friends in the ice cream business. Start sharing some of their successes. Start sharing some of their not so successes. But I keep telling some good friends of mine that I'm very blessed to have the pleasure to be in the ice cream industry, one of the few industries that every customer who comes up to the window always has a smile. So we'll settle down here and we'll get started. I'm looking forward to talking with a good friend of mine, Tamara Keefe, with Clementine's out of the St. Louis, Missouri area. Actually, her website says Clementine's, Naughty and Nice Creamery. Tamara has been in the ice cream business, she tells me, all of her life. As you'll hear her soon, she'll tell a story. She's enjoyed ice cream, and now she's at the point where she can create her own new flavors. She's excited about her third store that's going to be opening here soon, and also looking towards her fourth store. She tells me she's going to open a fourth one the end of this year. Tamara and I have worked together on store 1 and 2. I've enjoyed serving her great equipment, some good ideas, and to be honest, Tamara has given me some great ideas. I love her passion. She's got a great story. She really emphasizes her desire for small batch made ice cream. I think she calls it small batches, but it even takes that homemade brand and just really niches it down to a small batch specialty. Tamara is the owner, entrepreneur, flavorist, if you will, and concoction extraordinaire of ice creams, all Clementines. So let's transition over to my conversation with Tamara. Hope you enjoy this, and I look forward to having some more conversations the rest of the year. This is George Dunlap with GeorgeDunlap.com. Thank you so much. Hey, how you doing?
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine.
Great.
Where are you today?
I am in front of my second store in Clayton on Demund.
Holy cow, you are just going great guns here. Great guns. I love it.
That's the goal.
How long have you been interested or been involved in ice cream now, Tamara?
I've been making ice cream since I was a little kid, George. You know, after church on Sundays, it's actually a really great story. So I come from a pretty large Irish-Italian family.
Aha, no wonder.
Yep. And when we were kids, we were really poor. And every Sunday after church, I would hear these other kids ask about going for ice cream.
Okay.
And so I would tug on my mom's dress and I would say, hey, do we get to go for ice cream? And the answer was always no. And, you know, you didn't know you weren't supposed to make your parents feel bad for being poor, right? So,
Did you even know?
no, we didn't know. We just know that they got to do something that we didn't, right?
Right, right.
So, anyway, so one Sunday we were driving home and we stopped at a garage sale because that's where we bought our clothes and
Right.
shoes and whatever. And my mom, she found an old Crank and Boom for $2,
Oh,
and she bought it. And we took it home, and she said, "Okay, go change your clothes and do your chores, and meet back here in the kitchen in an hour, and we're gonna make ice cream." And literally, we've made every ice cream every Sunday my whole life growing up, all the way until my mom died. And it's been a family thing. And
right.
so after that, it just became my hobby and my passion. Some people golf and some people scrapbook. I've always made ice cream.
Well, you got a couple different iterations of your title. I mean, you've got into the boozy vegan title on your website, and then I noticed you also go into the naughty but nice type of a thing. I didn't know if that's a Santa Claus or a other interest. I like how you do this.
Oh, thank you. Well, so the whole naughty and nice concept is around our patent pending trade secret process for
Okay.
infusing alcohol into the ice cream up to 18%. So it's super boozy and nobody else can do it like we can. And then you have some niche products, right? So our vegan, I have a whole line of vegan ice creams that
Right.
have a massive cult following all across the country, because it tastes like ice cream. So it's really creamy and delicious.
Tell me about your journey with vegan because it's a tough product, as you know. When you and I have talked about this over the last couple of shows, you seem to have done very well in your formulation.
Yeah, you know what? My vegan ice creams are actually my most difficult to formulate
Yeah.
because I think there are a lot of non-dairy options out there that don't taste very good and they're super icy. Um, and they're a challenge. It takes me a good couple of months to formulate a new vegan flavor. So when we come out with them, they're fly off the shelf.
Good.
But we have our old standbys that um, our customers really love. But they're hard to formulate, but they're really delicious when done right.
You and I have been doing this for a long time, and it's really exciting to see that you've come at this from a child up to today's standards, and you've seen ice cream change so much in the last many years. And it seems like you and the operators today are now more excited about offering your customers different types of products, and you're very comfortable doing it, as opposed to maybe our parents used to do.
Yeah, I think that even speaks to our unusual flavors, right? So
Yeah,
clementines were known as that 15-minute vacation for people. So you still might walk out the door with a gooey butter cake or midnight pleasures
right.
or Madagascar vanilla, but you're going to be able to try some really unique flavors that you wouldn't necessarily commit to, but it lets you kind of be a little adventurous as well.
Now, do you have your own little group, your little cadre of taste testers that you work with in the back room sometimes when nobody's around?
So actually, yes. So I actually created a whole customer advisory panel
Okay,
when I first started Clementines, with people that lived in my neighborhood. So I have about 75 people. So whenever we're about to come out with a new flavor, I invite those 75 people to our kitchen and we do taste testing for different, variations of the flavor.
right.
Um, and yeah, so we actually kind of run like a serious sensory panel for all of our new flavors.
Well, so you've come from this as a child with your mom and your family and your
Mm-hmm.
Italian and the Irish. How did you go from having a hobby to having a business that you have to pay bills and make profit, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, a hobby is one thing, but a business is a different thing.
Well, I think, I worked in the food industry for a really long time,
Okay.
George. And so I had an extensive background with food safety and traceability and running a P&L. I ran a $70 million business for Abbott before doing this. So I
Ah,
had a corporate career of 25 years,
yes.
and it ended in the food industry. So for me, it was a very comfortable space. So I understood what it meant, to have good food safety program.
Right.
I understood what it meant and what I'd have to invest in to get really good equipment. I understood, and know what it means to have good marketing behind your product, right, and great customer service. And this generation is all about experiential dining, right? So
How do you
nobody.
define that?
So experiential dining is really where you go and have an experience
Okay.
somewhere. And I think people nowadays, they don't want to go to one place for everything. They want to go meet somewhere for drinks first. They want to go somewhere else and
Yeah.
have dinner.
Yeah.
And then they want to go to a third place for the best ice cream in America. And they come to Clementine's. I'm a
Well,
little biased though, George. I'm a little biased, but
well, and I've watched you on social media. You and I've had the pleasure. I've had the pleasure to meet you. What, 4 years ago?
yeah. Yeah,
And
four or 5 years ago.
when you built your first store, and I remember when I met you, you were a young lady with a mission. You knew what you wanted, and you weren't gonna bend backwards. I mean, you weren't gonna compromise at the expense of what your goals and objectives were. And I think that's very important in today's environment because, we're constantly evolving as a business group. Ice cream operators, we've gone from the mom and pop image, if you will, to a very professional. I mean, you were with Abbott's. You were an extremely professional woman, operator, business person. And food safety today is, as you know, there's many companies today who are kind of teetering on the edge of collapse if they don't get their food safety issues taken care of. Um,
Well, and I think that was important because when I decided to open Clementine's,
yep,
I had a very specific and set budget for food safety and for testing my ice cream and what that meant, and buying the right equipment and having the right tools and working with my local regulators to make sure that they helped me build my
right.
food safety lab so that it was done the right way and that it was acceptable. Because even though I was from the food industry, I mean, I didn't know everything. So I had to really depend on a lot of other people in the industry who were doing it
Right.
the right way, um, to help me get set up. And it did take me longer, George. I could have expanded and opened a whole lot more stores sooner, but I wanted to be cautiously optimistic and make sure that my foundation was set up first.
What would you say, what would you tell somebody today that's starting a business now knowing partially what you didn't know? Because that's always to say, you'd never know what you don't know until you get into it. But how do you advise somebody who talks to you today about new stores?
Um, if you're thinking about going into the business, I always say it takes twice as long and twice as much as you originally thought, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's always things that you're going to find out about that you didn't plan on or whatever. So I always say twice as long and twice as much, and don't be in a hurry. I think you want to do it right, and you want to build your foundation the right way, and you want people to have the best experience that they can and have the best product. So I think going a little slower is okay if you're building a really good business.
Now you've emphasized experience again. I mean, and you seem to be really emphasizing the experience issue. It's not just about good ice cream anymore, is it?
No, it's not. It is that customer experience, right? It's when someone walks in your door, what do they see? What do they smell? What
Right.
do they hear? Are your employees smiling? Are they greeted when they come in the door? Are they, said thank you when they leave? So it really is about all of those little touch points that makes a huge difference, right? So we let our guests come in and try as many flavors as they want, right?
Okay.
We have taster spoons, and we know we have unique flavors, so we want people to try them. That's part of the fun of coming to Clementine's, right? It's part of that experience.
Right.
But I've been into other ice cream shops where they're busy and they're like, oh, you can only try two different flavors, or they give you a limit. Well, you know what? At Clementine's, you can have 400 people in line, and often we do on crazy busy weekends and
Right.
holidays, and I will still smile, and all my people are trained to smile and be patient and let you try all 24 flavors if you'd like, because that's part of the Clementine's experience.
Well, you need to take the excuse me, the retail side, but you're also emphasizing the small batch concept. I noticed
Mm-hmm.
on your website and some other things, and it seems like a very strong emphasis on, if you will, handcrafted or specialty made or unique made products. It sounds like you're really trying to say that you make and design your own products as opposed to somebody else in some far off plant.
Yeah, I think we're the first and only micro creamery in St. Louis, and actually
Okay.
within 5 states of here,
Okay.
and that means something to people, right? So I always tell people, think microbrewery for beer, but for ice cream. So in order to be a micro creamery, one, you have to be small batch, right? Real people have to make it. You can't be run in big industrious continuous
Right.
freezers, right? So I think people appreciate that, especially in this day and age of appreciation for handcrafted and skilled, those of us
Right.
who work with our hands. Yeah. So handcrafted, or small batch, sorry.
Right. No.
Small batch, and then handcrafted. So handcrafted, you have to make everything that goes into your ice cream. We make every single thing that goes into our ice cream. We salt our own caramels, we candy our own pecans. If there's a pie, cake, or cookie, we bake it, make it, and put in it, or we collaborate with someone locally who
Okay.
does and
Okay.
put it in there. So we're not buying like bulk crud, I call it, right? It's from somebody or pieces or whatever and putting it in ice cream. That's not how I roll. So the handcrafted nature is really important. And third, for micro creamery, we're all natural. So we use zero artificial flavorings, fillers, emulsifiers, stabilizers, or anything in my product.
Okay.
And that's super important to me. So that's like that third component of the micro creamery. And then fourth component is around butterfat, right? So in order to be a micro creamery, you have to have more than 30%, I'm sorry, more than 16% butterfat
All right.
in ice cream. Well, all of ours has between 16 to 18%, right? That's why our ice cream is so dense and rich and amazing. And you don't have to have a big glob, right? Because it's so
All right.
right, it coats your tongue and your palate, and that's why you take a bite and like a minute later you're like, that's so good, right? That's all about the butter fat. That's what
Yes.
butter fat does for ice cream.
Yes. Yes.
And then last but not least is overrun. So in order to be a micro creamer, you have to have less than 30% overrun in your ice cream. And as we all know, as folks industry, that's the amount of air that's whipped into the ice
All
cream.
right. All right.
And so we have about 26 to 28%, but the limits for micro creamery is under 30%, and that's why the ice cream is dense and it's heavy and it stays with you. It's not like you go into some place and that's right.
Hey,
That's
I know
right.
you got only got a couple more minutes, so
That's all right.
one of the exciting things is that you number one, we've already discussed your exciting flavors, your history. What I'm excited about is knowing where you see yourself, and it looks like you're using social media to get to where you want to be in the next couple of years.
Hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
your catering is kind of going into a couple of different areas. I love the wedding pictures you have on there with
Thank
the
you.
cart,
Thank
and
you.
but you're not just doing catering. You're kind of doing a little bit of everything in that go-to mobile operation, aren't you?
Yeah, we do a lot of catering. We have Clementina, our ice cream truck. If you haven't seen her new video, you should check it out.
Ever since I was young, I knew I wanted to work with my hands. Getting the messy was always part of it. I never imagined where it would take me. I can't deny my calling. To serve the greatest handcrafted ice cream in the world. Naughty or nice. Cup or cone. Weddings or festivals. Birthdays or bat mitzvahs. Anywhere and anytime. Clementine's Naughty and Nice Creamery.
I will.
We have the ice cream bike and we do ice cream stations. So we do them for corporate events and for weddings. But, we also have a pretty robust wholesale business. So we sell to about 50 or 60 restaurants and hotels in St. Louis as
Do
well.
you really?
Hmm.
How I was talking, my daughter's 26, and we were talking the other day, and she said, "Dad, I don't want cake. I want ice cream for my wedding."
All modern brides do.
Where does that come in? I mean, I love it. I mean, it's good for you and for our customers, but where's that coming from?
I think cake is so traditional and it's kind of what your mother and your grandmother did.
That's
Are
that
the
word
same.
in it. That word.
Very traditional. And I think people are so used to going to weddings where they never even eat the cake and people don't care about it and it's too sweet. So I think ice cream is this great dessert that people love,
Right.
that 99% of your guests are actually going to partake in. And I think it's super fun and it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's not that stodgy old piece of
Dried
Uh,
out wedding
yeah,
cake.
I'm glad you said that, and I wouldn't want to say that. But it is. I mean, it just seems. I've seen what you're doing with your social media, and I was talking to her. And I'm going, there is just this total in this transition going on out there. And we went to a wedding here this last summer, earlier part of the summer, and I'm sitting there watching, and I'm literally scratching my head, going, I love it. It's fun. Everybody's having a great time. And there aren't a lot of dishes on the tables that still have cake. Everybody's eating their ice cream.
Yep. Yep.
So, well,
It's the way.
thanks so much for your time. And when do you plan on opening your third store? I know that's been keeping you busy here lately.
Yeah, yeah. It opens next month, and then our fourth location opens in October.
Oh, good, good, good. And next year you got a couple more planned?
We do.
Tamara, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate taking out your busy schedule, and we really look forward to to seeing you soon. And best of luck to you in your great ice cream store. Your journey seems to be fun.
Thanks, George. Have a great day. Good
Thank
luck,
you.
everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.